Introduction. The Last Lesson is a moving tale by Alphonse Daudet. It depicts the events of 1870, when France was seized by Bismarck's Prussian army, leading to Prussian rule over Lorraine and Alsace. Due to this, the French language was banned in these regions, and M. Hamel, a French teacher, was fired from his job. Nevertheless, his ultimate lecture was passionate and authentic. Little Franz, a student of M. Hamel, was scared when he reached school late and was startled to find out that this would be his last French lesson. The story is highly impactful and leaves a lasting impression on the reader. Franz's final French lesson. Franz, a French kid from Alsace, narrates this story. Initially, he despises the character of M. Hamel, his strict French instructor, who wants the students to learn the grammar of the language. After taking over the French provinces of Alsace and Lorraine, Berlin ordered that the German language rather than the French should be taught in the schools. Consequently, it was M. Hamel's last day as the school's French instructor. He had worked in the school for 40 years. Upon being dismissed, the stern instructor displayed a strangely calm attitude. Later, he exhibited his strong patriotic emotions by writing Vive la France on the blackboard with chalk. He felt agony and sadness, not because he lost his job, but because the French people had lost the freedom to use their native tongue. Franz is taken aback when he discovers that this is his final French session. He has not yet learned to speak or write French. In fact, he has generally disregarded the subject as he preferred to roam about in nature rather than sit in class. It was in his last class that Franz realized that he probably never paid attention to what M. Hamel said. For the first time, he felt that French was an easy language. He realizes that he cannot bear the pain of not being able to learn the language anymore.
Franz's respect towards M. Hamel. Franz quickly develops a fondness for his teacher, M. Hamel. His thoughts of hatred towards him are abruptly dissipated as he develops an appreciation for his teacher's effort and genuineness. Despite this, Franz feels depressed and embarrassed at his inability to recite his lesson. According to Hamel, they were all to blame for not being eager to learn. This includes the students who found the lessons dull, the parents who needed their children to work in the fields for extra money, and even himself, for asking little Franz to water his garden instead of asking him to study. In his last class, Hamel put all his efforts and patience into making the students understand their lessons. Without faltering even once, he engaged the students in one of the most beautiful deliberations on the need and beauty of the French language. This is the most impactful part of the story, the last lesson. M. Hamel's love. For the French language, Hamel is an enthusiastic learner and instructor of the French language. He regards French as the world's most coherent and beautiful language. At one point, M. Hamel seemed emotional and advised the students to be mindful of their words. He said that knowing their language is a way to break free from the grip of slavery and gain independence from the Germans. The students are encouraged to recognize the importance of their mother tongue. Furthermore, he believed that illiteracy is to blame for their downfall. In the climactic scene of the story, Monsieur Hamel faltered from his stern and calm appearance and choked while expressing his gratitude in his very last class. He expressed his strong emotions for his motherland by writing on the blackboard, Vive la France. Importance of the mother tongue. The last lesson emphasizes the significance of language as an integral part of a person's identity that cannot be taken away, despite any opposition. Consequently, adversaries may attempt to alter one's language, but they will ultimately be unsuccessful. Character sketch. About the author. Alphonse Daudet is considered one of the most recognizable figures in French literature. He wrote his first novel at the age of 14. Many of his paintings were inspired by events in his own life. Both 30 Ans de Paris and Souvenir d'un homme de lettres contain autobiographical detail. Although he died in the late 19th century, his name remains well known among French writers. Conclusion. On his final day of teaching, Hamel, a dedicated French language instructor and lifelong learner, faces the harsh reality that the Germans have decreed that only German will be taught in schools from the next day onwards. Hamel deeply values French as the world's most beautiful, clearest, and most rational language. Rather than rebuking his students for their inability to answer correctly, he emphasizes the importance of the collective effort to preserve the glory of their mother tongue despite the changing circumstances.